Thanks for joining me again. I thought I'd get everybody up to speed on my divorce. It has been a year since I filed and left him, and basically nothing has happened. This will go on because he is a narcissist and because this makes him feel like he is controlling the situation. It makes him feel like he's in the driver's seat by prolonging things and making things difficult, trying to get things to go his way. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to work. It is, however, in the meantime, costing me a lot of money that I really don't have. He's got it all. He makes very good money. And I've noticed that he and my mother, who's also a narcissist, have one thing in common. The more money they have, the greedier they are. They're not giving, they're not generous. My mother will claim she is. She'll claim that she has always been. But truly, now that my dad is gone, I realize that he was the one with a generous heart. He was the one with a generous spirit. He didn't want to see other people struggling. If there was any way he could help somebody, he would. And he was the one with a very generous and giving spirit. And she is extremely greedy. She came into more money. I made that happen for her. And I think that she's greedier now as a result of it. My soon-to-be ex is as well. I see that they have that common trait. They don't do anything for anybody without expecting something in return. If they do something for you, if they give you something, if they, give you money or some sort of a gift or a favor, there are strings attached. And that's not how I am. That's not how my father was. That's just not how people should be in general. And they both have that in common. So yes, he's costing me a lot of money that I don't have. I don't have a job thanks to my narcissist mother. That's a story for another day. And the legals just keep mounting, and he just keeps making things more difficult. It will all come around. The legal system here is very backed up. Things get canceled and rescheduled all the time. So that is part of the problem on top of him making things difficult. But he just wants control. He wants to be able to feel like he still has a say in what I do or how things go for me. So he will make this go on as long as he possibly can. Simple things. I made a request for some belongings from the house because that didn't go well when I tried to go and get them myself. And he has complicated it to the point that he suggested that he would pay for a storage facility for a month, put my belongings there, and then pass the code on to my attorney for me to go and retrieve my own things. I think it's absurd. I think it's petty. I think it's childish. My attorney said, well, if you don't agree to it, the judge is going to say, well, he made you an offer. Why didn't you take it? So I was ready to go ahead and go along with that as things started to shake out. And I said, well, as long as he can guarantee my things will be in the condition that I left them, he would not agree to that, would not agree that my things would be in the condition that I left them. And I thought anybody would be crazy to agree to these terms, because for all I know, he'll light them on fire as he closes the storage room door, and there's nothing I can do about it because I agreed to that. So I just told my attorney, I said, you know what, this isn't worth all the hassle. It's not worth the fuss. I'll just wait until the judge orders the house be sold and get my things then. I asked for things like my cookbooks, kitchen stuff, all my scrapbooking supplies. I have a huge room full of scrapbooking supplies, and he wouldn't agree to that. So I don't know if he's like a part-time chef now or if he's taken up scrapbooking and he has to have those things. He needs them. But he did not agree to let me have them. So I will wait. I'm not by nature a patient person, and this entire process and everything that I've been through has taught me one thing: patience. My dad taught me to find humor in everything. That's one thing I learned from my dad. I don't care what we did in business, we would have the most aggravating days, the most trying times. We could be dealing with something that, made both of us want to tear our hair out. And at the end of it all, we were both laughing. And I realized that it is so important to find humor in a situation. It's so important to be able to step back and just shrug something off or laugh something off at the end of the day. And I guarantee you there were and still are many times that I don't find humor in any of this. There are many times when I go and I see my therapist and I spend a lot of time crying and very upset. really struggling to find the upside in all of this. But for the most part, there's always a way for me to find humor in it. If I didn't find the humor in a situation, I would be tearing all my hair out right now. As you see in some of the posts, either on Facebook or on my page, Narcissist, I try to post things that have a little bit of a twist to them, a little bit of humor in it anyway. And I hope that that doesn't upset anybody. I know how trying this is. I've been there. I still am. I still struggle with this. It's something that I deal with daily. But I also do try to find the humor in it because I have to. I absolutely have to. I have gone through so much loss in the last year on so many levels. If I don't find the humor in it, it'll drive me crazy. My therapist told me in my last visit that she was surprised I wasn't in the hospital. She says she has hospitalized many people for depression and things of that nature, going through what I'm going through and dealing with the losses that I've dealt with in such a short time. Again, just trying to stay focused, trying to talk myself through things, prayer, just being positive, having John in my life. My kids just have to focus on the good. In the worst possible times, there still has to be good. You've got to look for it. You've got to find it. It was approximately a year ago that I did walk out, that I did leave the narcissist. Prior to that, when I told him that I wanted to leave, when I told him that I wanted a divorce and that it was over, that wasn't the first time he'd heard it. He'd heard it many times. I took many different approaches with our marriage and suggesting that we should part ways, we should separate, we should take a break. I wish I had $1 for every time I suggested it. Sometimes it was in anger, sometimes it was in fits, other times it was really from a place of sympathy. It was from a place of empathy, because I would tell myself, I can't make him happy. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but obviously I am not the person for him. And I would tell him that in those words. I think to myself, I just can't make him happy. There's something in this formula here that is not right. And there is somebody out there that can probably make him happy, but it's not me. And I would tell him that, and I would say that he deserved happiness. I meant it from the bottom of my heart. I felt that we both deserved happiness. He would always find a way to twist it up. He would say that things would change, or he would flip on me. The one time that I remember telling him, I think we should separate. I think that this is no good. I think we're no good for each other. This was when I was really starting to see I had clarity. I knew things weren't going to last. And he knew that I was serious about the separation. And the first thing he did was threaten me. And I can't use the language that he used, but he assured me that he would find somebody else to sleep with. He made that very clear. And I immediately started crying because I thought, that's not what this is about. But of course, at that time, I didn't know what I was dealing with. I didn't know that their tactics were to scare you and manipulate you and play on your insecurities. So when he said that to me, he cut right to my core, because I thought, that's not why I want to separate. That's not the objective is here. I just want to be alone. I want to be out of place where it's just dark and lonely and upsetting and depressing. And it's not good for either one of us. I recognized that even then, that it wasn't good for either one of us. I had his feelings and well-being in mind as well. I thought, he's not happy. He can't possibly be happy the way things are going. We're not in a good place. Who wants this? Who needs this? And that was his response to me. That's what he told me. And he promised me, he assured me that that would happen. That was the first thing out of his mouth. And I was floored. I was stunned. And I was really, really hurt, because that wasn't what I wanted. That wasn't the objective. That's definitely not what I wanted to hear. That's what they do. That's what they do. Think of the fastest, most effective way to hurt you, to cut you. And last year, when he realized how serious I was about our marriage being over, he did the exact opposite of what any human being would do, because I think any human being would say, you know what, I'm going to try harder. I don't want to let her go. I don't want to let him go. I don't want this to be over. They say they don't want it to be over. He said he didn't want it to be over, but his behavior said otherwise. He was so nasty. Every day he came home. Did you find a lawyer yet? Did you find a lawyer yet? Did you talk to a lawyer yet? I don't know if he thought I was bluffing or if that was his way of letting me know that he didn't really care, or if he was just trying to antagonize me. There was no kindness, there was no softness, there was no let's work on this, let's see what we can do. When he realized how serious I was, he got flat out ugly, flat out nasty. Every day screaming and yelling, every day, let's sit down and start dividing things. I made up this list. I want you to look at this. I want you to sit down and look at what I drew up. And I said, I don't have anything to say to you. I kept telling him, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to look at it. That's what attorneys are for. I'm going to have an attorney to do this because I don't want to deal with you anymore. And the more I pushed him away, the nastier he got. Screaming, yelling, swearing, day in, day out, day in, day out. It wore on me. I called my attorney. I'm like, is there any way I can get him out of this house? Anybody that may be going through a divorce or has gone through a divorce knows what a joke that is. He was going to be allowed to stay in the house as long as he wanted. It was just a nightmare. It was just an absolute nightmare. And that is why I ended up leaving with whatever I could fit in my car. Because I thought, I can't live like this. I cannot do this. It was just nastiness and ugliness coming in, waking me up in the middle of the night, wanting to talk to me. And I thought, oh, now he wants to talk. There you go. Wake me up in the middle of the night because you want to talk to me. I don't sleep as it is. I was a mess. I wasn't eating. I lost tons of weight. I was an absolute wreck. A wreck is an understatement. I just wanted to be away from him. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to be away from him. And when I got away from him, he was calling, he was texting, he was emailing, he was carrying on and on and on. It was just nonstop. It was just nonstop. I'm just glad to be away from that now. I'm glad to be out of it. The no contact rule is so important. Once you put that in place, just don't break it. Just stay away from them. They want attention, good or bad. It doesn't matter what it is, what it's for. He evaded service for months. It cost me, my attorney, the server, months of effort to try to serve him. He evaded service for months. He got people on board with him. At work, they wouldn't let him into his place of work, even though the server was with 2 police officers. Just an absolute nightmare, an absolute circus when you're dealing with a narcissist. And you have to find a way to maintain your sanity. Find a way to deal with it on a daily basis and not let it tear you up and tear you down and dictate your feelings day and night. It has taken me so long to just get to this point, and it doesn't take much to one of those triggers. It doesn't take much at all to hit a trigger to upset me, to get me to the point where I completely lose my cool, to get me to the point where I'm acting and reacting the way I did when I was with him. He brought out the absolute worst in me, and I don't want to be that person. He brought out the worst in me. He was the only one that did it. My mother was in second. She ran a very close second to him, and I just can't do it anymore. I don't have the energy. It's just awful. It's awful what they do to you. And as much as it upsets me to hear from my attorney, to get any kind of communication from them, from his attorney, whatever, I have to learn to control that and tell myself, he's gotten enough of my energy. He's gotten enough tears. He's gotten enough anger and frustration out of me. He doesn't deserve any more. It's just a really difficult thing. It's a really difficult thing to keep that into perspective, especially when they've done it to you for so long. And 24 years was enough. He doesn't deserve any more. Occasionally they'll catch me at a weak moment and I exert more, but I'm really working on that. I'm working on that a lot, and it's a daily process. It's not something that just happens. It doesn't come easy. It is definitely a process, and it takes a lot of effort. But I'll get there. I will get there. Slowly I am. A year ago I wasn't where I am right now. 6 months ago, I wasn't where I am now. So it just takes time. Hopefully we can support each other through those processes together and be supportive, be a community for one another of support. Other people just don't get it. People that have not been on the receiving end of this type of abuse do not understand it. I will continue in my next video talking about my mother. It's time to pull away a few of the layers on that one. That's something else to be dealt with, and that's a process too. Thanks for watching. I'll get to that in the next video.